As usual, Google CEO Sundar Pichai is speaking in public about what now seems to be his favorite subject. Namely, how worried he is about the economy. And, like practically every other CEO, how bad the macroeconomic environment is in the United States. Well, by now, everybody who reads the financial press is accustomed to hearing all of the same voices in the same echo chamber. But, where there is smoke, there is fire. And, while there are a lot of layoff announcements, it seems as though the stealth layoff is gaining in popularity. So, why is this? And what is in store for technology companies? What does it mean for the US economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. We all know that Google CEO Sundar Pichai made an earth-shattering speech at the Vox Code conference in Los Angeles. Google CEO Sundar Pichai warned that layoffs could be in the offing. He said that Google needs to boost its efficiency by 20%, whatever that means. All of this while Google fights off fierce competition. And, of course, difficult macroeconomic conditions. And do not forget about antitrust investigations. The more we try to understand the macroeconomic, we feel very uncertain about it, said Pichai. The macroeconomic performance is correlated to ad spend, consumer spend and so on, continued Pichai. We want to make sure we are prioritizing all the right things to be working on, continued Pichai. And your employees actually have impact on the things they're working on, Pichai also said. Pichai also expressed concern regarding federal government's antitrust investigations. The Biden administration is gearing up to sue Google for alleged anti-competitive behavior in the digital advertising market. Do I wake up and worry about all the stuff that's coming down? Pichai mused. Absolutely, he answered his own question. Pichai categorically denied that Google was conducting monopolistic practices. He noted that Google experiences intense competition from all directions, such as the growing popularity of TikTok, and the very existence of established giants like Apple. And Microsoft has been a competitor since before Google even existed. Pichai characterized Google as pro-competitive. Competition in technology space is hyper-intense, Pichai said. TikTok's rise shows there is competition in the space and how vibrant the market is compared to previous years, Pichai pointed out. The U.S. Justice Department sued Google in 2020 for antitrust violations. Google was accused of illegally consolidating its monopolistic grip on the search engine market. Google Cloud sales executives warned employees that they needed to improve sales or get fired. If third-quarter results don't look up, there will be blood on the streets, executives told the sales team. Google top management promised an overall examination of sales productivity and productivity in general. Google instituted a hiring freeze in July. Productivity as a whole is not where it needs to be for the headcount we have, Pichai stated in an internal memo. Google employees are clearly afraid that layoffs are coming, especially after the hiring freeze was extended. Meanwhile, job cuts are coming to Meta platforms. Even the biggest of the big tech giants are not immune to cost cutting. Both Google and Meta hired at breakneck speeds since the start of the pandemic. But now, it seems that both companies want to fire employees as fast as they hired them. Many employees were told to find new jobs within the company or leave. Departmental reorganizations at both Google and Meta have affected hundreds of employees so far. And, it is generally believed that the restructurings have further to go. Cuts aren't unexpected, a Meta spokesperson said. Meta plans to steadily reduce headcount over the coming year, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told Wall Street analysts. Many teams are going to shrink so we can shift energy to other areas, Zuckerberg added. Area 120, the Google startup incubator, has seen half of its projects cancelled. Google CEO Sundar Pichai has made clear his goals of cut costs, slow hiring, and making the company 20% more productive. Announcing job cuts to the whole company was not a scalable way to do it, Pichai noted. So, that means that both Google and Meta are taking a stealth layoff approach. But I will try and notify the company of the more important updates, Pichai promised. This is common practice in big tech. Giving employees 60 days to find another role is a pretty normal big company proposition, said Sandy McCreary, Chief PPP Officer at Credit Karma. Projects get spun up, projects get wound down, McCreary continued. This type of layoff raises the employability of affected workers, said Emery Cadigan, first crow at LinkedIn. If you really believe they're good people and you really did just cancel that project, it's not about poor performance, Cadigan continued. That said, a 30-day deadline to find a new job feels pretty aggressive in a big company, noted McCreary. 60 days is much more normal and fairer, McCreary continued. 60 days also allows companies to avoid triggering WARN requirements, Cadigan noted. Depending on how many employees are let go in a given location, can require 60 days of pay, McCreary said. Deeper cuts are expected to follow these 30-day notices at Meta, according to anonymous sources. Meta expects to get more done with fewer resources, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told shareholders. Meta cut its forward expense guidance to $88 billion. That is down about 10% from previous guidance. Big tech companies see advantages in stealth layoffs. Layoffs could hurt the morale of the employees that the company wants to keep. They can also tarnish corporate branding. They leave companies scarred for a long period of time, both internally and externally, McCreary said. Large tech companies are really good with controlling the narrative and know that the word layoff is a hot button for the press, said Mark Church, former chief people officer at Carta. But stealth layoffs can be risky as well. Your staff knows if you're not treating people fairly, if you're taking people out with sniper shots in the night, metaphorically speaking, Cadigan said. For almost a decade now, big tech giants have been hoarding talent, Church said. Both from startups and from each other, as a competitive strategy, added Church. Some bad employees and underperformance naturally come when a company hires so many people so quickly. Realistically, there are a bunch of people at the company who shouldn't be here, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg famously said. That was an okay trade-off in the previous macro environment, Church said. This evolving situation shows that even the biggest tech companies are not immune to the macroeconomic environment. And leaders are trying to stay on this high wire between public market investors who care about cost-cutting and winning the war on talent on the other, Cadigan added. One thing we know. More performance management is coming, McCreary noted. I get a call from a CEO or head of HR once a week on how to do a layoff, McCreary shared. But McCreary said that there are also a lot of questions regarding how to do effective performance management. Giving underperforming employees honest feedback leads some to quit on their own, McCreary noted. Helping companies avoid terminations and other methods of reducing headcount, said Cadigan. I always championed managing underperforming employees out of the company as an alternative to involuntary terminations, said Cadigan. This typically leads to butting heads with the board, which wanted to see more employees fired, Cadigan also noted. What do you think? Please leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of future videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.